Hey, so this is the last section for Chapter 3, Section 3.6, where we're still looking at inequalities, but we're looking at compound inequalities. Okay, and so we've touched on this a little bit where in the past, and maybe you might remember a few as we go along. But a compound inequality basically is showing a range. So here's an example of one. Okay, so the temperature tomorrow in Florida is expected to be between 65 and 80 degrees. Okay, so this is an inequality. This is showing a range. Okay, where we're saying that it's going to be greater than 65, but it's going to be less than 80. And what we can do is, rather than writing that as two separate inequalities, we can write it as one. Okay, and so what I'm going to do is I'll start out by looking at just the 65. Okay, and I'll say that the temperature is going to be greater than 65. Okay, so temperature is greater than 65. Okay, using the same thing, I'm going to cover this up and now look at the 80 degrees. Okay, and the temperature is going to be less than the 80 degrees. Okay, use the same variable, and so this is a compound inequality. It's just showing the range between 65 and 80. Okay, we can also graph this. Okay, on a graph, what we would do is still use the same concept of open circle and closed circle. And what I would do is, so still you want to make a number line. Okay, and obviously we need 60 degrees on here, and we need 80 degrees on here. Okay, and so for both of these, we'll be using an open circle on 60 and an open circle on 80, and we would say that they are just between those two temperatures. Okay, here's another one. So we're not as lucky as Florida. We are expected to have between 1.5 inches and 3.7 inches of rain this week. Okay, so let's break this down. Okay, so the amount of rain, so we could have 1.5 inches of rain. Okay, so the rain could be greater than 1.5 inches. Rain is greater than 1.5 inches. Okay, or we could even get 1.5 inches, so it's going to be equal to also. Okay, so I have that written down. Cover that up just so we can look at it and maybe understand a little bit easier. Okay, the rain is also going to be less than 3.7 inches. And again, it could also be equal to it because we could get as much as 3.7 inches. Okay, and similarly, when we graph this, okay, we need 1.5 inches on our graph. We need 3.7. Okay, except for both of these, we'll need a closed circle on each one. Okay, they go up and they're going to connect. And that's showing our range.